to connect with other people that you know are going to understand you. Because until we break down that isolation, we can't really address any of the other parts of it. Because if you're isolated, you're looking to survive. You're not looking to help yourself.
How do we bring back joy and fun and playfulness back into like our lived experience? Because it's really something that is fleeting when you have a child with a disability, especially when you're initially in it. And so a lot of this is not just connection, but finding laughter, finding joy, finding that part that like wakes you up to life again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Polaris Connection, your podcast that connects parents of autistic children with industry experts and proven results. I am your host, Brad Broyles, and I'm here with my caring for the carers, Mr. co-host, Nathan Palmer.
Brad, thank you. Always wonderful to be here. And as much as I would like to hope or presume I could care for caregivers, there are two people here that do it much better than I do and much more involved, caring for the caregivers.
Yes, we are here with Michele Thorne, the co-founder and chief executive officer for Care for the Caregivers, and we have to say that 5 times, right? And with Dr. Gabrielle Ficchi, is also the co-founder and chief operating officer for Care for the Caregivers.
I love it.
Welcome so much to the show.
Thank you. In stereo. I love this.
You know, sometimes we try, was not practice. You know, I have to tell you, we met you at the Idea Museum, which is, we love that event. We love that it's there. Just the creativity it brings in children. I think my wife, Darcy, saw you guys, and you stood out for a couple of reasons, because normally we go to these events, and not that it's wrong, but everything is kind of there for the child.
Yes.
Right? Here's all the services. Here's all the resources. And then here you guys are, and it's hey, we are here for the parents. And I'm like,
Yes,
oh
sir.
my gosh, somebody thought of us. And instantly it was, who are you and what do you do? And I was just so intrigued. So who are you?
Yes, let's start there.
Yeah, well, my name is Michele Thorne, and I am the mother of 2 autistic children. And when my son was diagnosed, you know, he needed so many supports. And I had to, like most families, I had to give up my career. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of family. I didn't handle it well. And when I came out of that, I just realized there are hundreds and thousands of organizations that take care of my child. But there's nobody out there taking care of me. And if I'm not okay, I don't care how much therapy you give to my kid, he's not okay. And so when I met Dr. Ficchi, I was like, oh my God, this is the person that I want to start this company with, this charity with, because she was already studying this phenomenon and already working with a lot of caregivers. And so we met, and it was just fate.
We call it kismet.
Yes.
It was a good day. Yeah.
Well, how did you two meet?
Yeah, we met. My husband and I were doing a presentation to a group of parents going through an advocacy course. I was born with my disability, and then my husband is also disabled himself. So we had gone several years in a row to this advocacy course to talk about our lives and how we live independently and the independent living movement and philosophy, which could be a whole other podcast. And one of the years we were there, Michele happened to be in the audience. And I had just wrapped my doctoral dissertation on supporting parents whose children have disabilities. And she asked if she could read it. I was like, you want to read my
dissertation?
160-page dissertation? Like,
Light
sure.
reading.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a nerd. I was a geneticist in the past, so
That-
it was
that-
right in
yeah.
my wheelhouse.
Yeah. And I had gotten to fictitiously, I guess, design a program for parents based on my research. And she read the whole thing and called me 2 weeks later and said, I think we could do this.
That's
And
amazing.
that's how it started.
And today's our 6-year anniversary,
Yeah.
actually.
Today?
Today.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
I just have to say, more and more as I talk to people in this field doing work that I think is inspired, it never ceases to amaze me the things that just kind of fall into place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I hear those kind of stories, without even asking you anything further, I'm sure we'll get into that, I just know you're kindred spirits. I know what you're doing is a good cause. And it's just, you know, the the more connected we get in this space, the more I'm reassured that everything's okay. And so I'm just so grateful you guys met, you connected, and for coming up with an idea that's turned into this amazing resource. So with that, what is it? I mean, when you started talking to me at the table, I had so many questions, like, not just who are you, but how is this possible? Like, are you serious? Like, this is all available? And even today, I asked you, like, what's going on, and how many events are you doing just this month?
44.
44. Okay.
Plus a podcast.
All right. So listen, parents are sitting going, great. How are you caring for me? Would you just explain, what is it you offer? Because I was so just intrigued by it.
Yeah, I'll let Dr. Ficchi first talk about our counseling program.
Yeah, it's one of our most popular right now. So I'm a licensed therapist here in Arizona, and through my practice, I've always wanted to work with the disability community and their parents. So when we started Care for the Caregivers, mental health was really important to me because a lot of parents in this community don't have options for adequate mental health services, and neither do their children. And we were getting a lot of parents in the beginning who I was meeting that were telling us stories of getting turned away from traditional therapy services because their situations were too complicated or they weren't sure they could help them. And so from the beginning, really, that's what started our direct services. And we now provide therapy scholarships to families that need a therapist and also need a therapist who is what we call disability competent. And so one of the really unique things about what we do, not just in our therapy, but all of our services, is that most of the people providing them are also part of this community. So it skips that typical barrier of having to explain yourself and explain your life and what that looks like, because we can meet you where you're at. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other two stools that we have is we teach parents how to work with their kids. So we do a lot of parent training courses. So we're trained in Stepping Stones Triple P, which gives parents tools and techniques. It's an 8-week program. It's awesome. They get a lot of tools and techniques. They get to try them out. They get to come back. We troubleshoot with them. They learn some more. They go. They try them. They come back. We troubleshoot with them. So it's not like
That's
a one
awesome.
and done.
That's an awesome interactive program.
Yeah.
Sheesh, I need to do
because you
that.
feel so disempowered, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but man, my kid needs a strategy for everything. I want to teach Jackson how to like brush his teeth. There has to be a strategy, right?
Yeah.
I want to teach him how to put on clothes. There's a strategy that's involved. But we're never taught that. Our kids go to therapy. They kind of go behind the wall. They do their thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And they come out and you're like, I don't know how to continue this at home.
And it's so easy to read these books and attend seminars and watch these webinars, and you hear these great ideas, right? You go,
Right.
oh, that's it, or that idea is fantastic, and then you go and you try it and it fails.
Yes.
And the next thing you're like deer in the headlights, and you're right back to, why can't you do this? Why? What is this? And it's, I don't know if it's frustration or desperation or probably a blend of all of it. Mm-hmm. The idea that you can take that back and get reaffirmation and redirection and ongoing support, I think, is really key. That's awesome.
Well, and it was really funny. We were teaching this class Wednesday night. While I was at home, my kids are there, and they got to actually see me in real time use 2 of the techniques that we were actually teaching them during that class on my kids. I was like, hold on, you guys are going to watch this in real life. Ready? And then I would do it, and they were like, that was so cool.
Right, and that's where we drop the mic.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's what that looks like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Wow, that is. So I'm really curious. What about Dr. Ficchi's dissertation that really grabbed you, Michele? Like, that is a lot of, I know I'm kind of going back a little bit, but that's been in my thoughts since you said that. That's a lot of faith. That's a lot of like, wow, you read something, so you changed your career path to say, hey, doctor, I don't know where you're going, but I want to do this.
Yeah, well, I had started DAMES, which was Differently Abled Mothers Empowerment Society, 2 years before I met Gabby, and it was a for-profit organization. And everybody's like, it's a nonprofit. I'm like, it is, but I don't have the right person. Like, I don't have the right team. I'm not just going to fill a charity full of my parents and like hope that I'm doing it right? Because to your point, I don't know what I'm doing. I was a geneticist, right? I know nothing about how you properly support families. So when I read through her dissertation, and we pulled it out today because I still have the original binding of it, and I highlighted the whole thing. I made notes. I was like, we could totally do this. Like, I think this is how we could do it. I mean, the whole thing, it just came together so beautifully. And it's a leap of faith, but I think just meeting her and hearing her speak and hearing her husband speak, and it's that whole shift in how we think about individuals with disabilities, right? Because when you see Dr. Ficchi, when you meet her husband, you see the possibility and potential in your kids, right? And what they can be and what they can achieve. And I think even I was missing that. So when I met her, I was like, oh, this is so my person, and just dove right in.
We really did. I don't think we've slowed down since, really.
No.
And the timing was really great because I had been a community mental health therapist for like 10 years. And I had just during COVID opened my own private practice. And so it was like the first time in my career that I was like, well, if I'm going to take a leap of faith, I could. And then she was like, well, if we're going to do this, I think we could. And it just all came together at the right time.
Well, speak about right time. If it's 6 years, that means they opened around COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. So so not only
that
did
must have been easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because none of us needed support then.
No,
Nobody needed mental health during that time. No, nobody was locked away in their house doing nothing. Sure.
Yeah.
So how did that shift from going, hey, here's our general idea, then COVID hit? Was that help or hurt your foundation?
I think it really gave us time to prepare and do a lot of like the legwork. So during COVID is when we got a lot of training where we became trainers of the Stepping Stones Triple P. We became trainers of the Protective Factors Framework. So it really allowed us to build out that groundwork before we could actually get out into the community doing things.
We also developed a lot of our curriculum that we use now during
that
COVID.
time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we use the time.
Well, hey, no doubt. I mean, you don't have much of it left, so I'm glad you had a lot of it then.
Yeah.
So you've talked about offering therapy services. I do want to circle back to the competency piece because I have some questions there, but I want to stay on this who you are first for a second. You offer parent training resources. What else do you offer for parents? Because there's a piece there on the activity side that maybe I'm just selfish and it has no meaning at all, but it was so meaningful that they're there. So tell us about some of just the events for, I'm just going to say that this selfish hours of just a little bit of reprieve.
Yeah, we all need that self-care, and we all need to be around community members who actually understand what we're going through.
Yes.
Very early on, I remember I isolated because none of my friends could relate to my experience. So at Care for the Caregivers, just to blow everybody's mind a little bit, but last year we put on 400 community events across Arizona.
Okay.
Wow.
And I want to qualify this because typically when we hear community events, it's like, here's another resource fair, here's vendor tables. I know what I'm talking about. I know what you're talking about. Would you explain what these events are? Because it's kind of a cool concept.
Sure, yeah. And it's funny you say that. We've definitely played with the term a little bit because you're right. You say events and people picture exactly what you just said. But we really have gotten intentional about just trying to break down the barriers to being isolated. So whether that's a dinner that we all meet at a certain part of the community or a virtual programming event that people can come to, or our bigger, what's called Find Your Fun events. I know Michelle likes to talk about those, but we've gone, we've done axe throwing, and we've done a rage room, and just like different things that you can come and relax and kind of take a load off. And so that's kind of the whole point of those is, where do you connect with other people that you know are going to understand you? Because until we break down that isolation, we can't really address any of the other parts of it. Because if you're isolated, you're looking to survive. You're not looking to help yourself.
Yeah.
So really, I think that's our community events, is breaking down that isolation piece.
Well, and so a year and a half ago, we did an evidence-based study. I'm a nerd. She's a nerd. We did a research study. And one of our questions that we asked people when we did our initial intake was, what do you do for fun? And they all kind of go,
What do you mean?
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
Fun?
Yeah.
Like, what's that?
I'm a parent.
Right?
I drive kids around.
Yeah. And so a lot of our events are circling back to how do we bring back joy and fun and playfulness back into like our lived experience, because it's really something that is fleeting when you have a child with a disability, especially when you're initially in it. And so a lot of this is not just connection, but finding laughter, finding joy, finding that part that like wakes you up to life again.
They're like parent play events.
Yeah.
And I love that you do so many, because on your website, they're listed there. And for a lot of them, it's just sign up. It's not even cost. It's just set the time.
Yes.
And it's almost reassuring you have so many. I know it's like crazy busy on your side, but the last thing I have on my side is a fixed and predictable schedule. So to have that flexibility is so important. And really, it's funny you said play, because I can think back to several podcast episodes we've done now where occupational therapists or other behavior therapists come in and say a key component to parenting is introducing play. So they can kind of have this anxiety-free experience, but they're still getting a benefit. And to your point, that applies as much to a parent as it does to a child.
Well, and I love, Dr. how you said that you play kind of where they're at. And I love that. You meet the parent where they're at.
Because otherwise, we need their entry point. If we don't have an entry point, then we can't help them build the rest of it. So you've got to meet them where they're at, get them in the door. I think that's the other thing a lot of our events do, is get them in the door, right? Whether they're smaller, some are smaller, some are bigger. So if you're anxious in, a bigger crowd, you can come to a coffee at our office or a dinner at a restaurant and be with a smaller group of people. And if you're looking to just like let go and have fun, you can come to some of our bigger events. And so we really try to make it so that that entry point isn't intimidating, and then you can just come find your village, as it were, and then build from there. So
if I go to one of your events, and I understand they're all a little bit different from coffee, come to the office, axe throwing, different events. What is the main focus? Like, what would I expect as a parent if I just show up? Me and my wife just show up. What would I expect?
Just a warm and welcoming environment, and being able to relate to the other caregivers that are in your space and to meet different people. I also think one of the beautiful things about our organization is that we're not disability specific, right? So I have 2 kids with autism. I'm autistic. When I started this, my friends were like, "Oh, for parents who have kids with autism," and I'm like, "Well, yes, and right?" Because I think it's important for us to also understand that we're a part of a larger community, and that community is also a very beautiful community. And it's nice to know that we're a part of this disability community, but there's so many more out there. And having worked at TGen, now we have a lot of families who have rare genetic conditions who have a home and who have somewhere to belong. And so I think it's just that, like finding your place where you belong and finding other caregivers you can relate to is one of the big things you can find.
When you use the word caregiver, give me your definition of a caregiver.
Oh, man. You want to take this one?
I was looking at you. I can do it too. But I think the one that comes most naturally is the parent. But we've also seen that we've had to grow that definition. So we have programming that relates to families who are doing kinship care. If you're in the foster system and caring for a child with a disability, you're always welcome. There's aunts and uncles that are primary caregivers of that child. They're always welcome. Grandparents. And then just this year, actually, we opened our programming to include a sibling workshop, because we've seen kind of over the years that siblings of these kiddos have also become like mini caregivers of their own. So we wanted to include them in getting the support and the help. So it's really anybody who's part of that team of taking care of that child or children with disabilities.
I love that perspective. And you said something, it'll help you find your village. And we use that term a lot in the world of special needs caring. And whether it's autism or any other neurodiverse condition, I think any child that experiences the world differently creates a new world for both them and their parents. And that village is not always there. And it can be very lonely. And so I love that you can be a resource to not, just come for your own reprieve, but to find those to build your own village, which is so needed in this space.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's funny. We just recently did an episode with a provider out of Oregon, Eileen Devine, and she had kind of a phrase, the other side of the coin, and it really pegs what you guys are talking about. And she focused on, we again look at the kid side so much that if we're deficient as a parent, we're really going to be failing them anyways. And so that other side, the parent side, this is like the perfect follow-up, because we lightly touched on it there, but you guys are our version of that coin here in Arizona. Right. So it's wonderful that you're doing this work.
Yeah, thank you. Well, and I think what is also really important about the work that we do is we're not just taking care of the parent, we're not just wrapping our arms around them, but we're also helping to shift how they see and how they perceive disability. And instead of coming at disability as, so often in society, disability is pegged as this horrible, awful thing. So when you enter into this space, that's how you think of it, right? Instead, what we try to do is help parents actually embrace disability pride and culture and realize that it's not this horrible, awful thing. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think what Michelle's hitting at is that all of our services, as much as we can, are rooted in what's called the disability pride perspective. And so we're really trying to take the idea that it's called the social model of disability, right? Where if you adapt the environment that the person lives in, you're addressing those barriers and what they need, as opposed to what so much of our systems are focused on right now, which is the medical model, where like if you quote unquote fix the child, then you fix the problem.
Exactly.
So this idea is like, no, we need to remove the barriers that are in our society. I think, and this took me a long time to come up with, but as an adult now, I can look back and say, like, it was never my responsibility to change who I was. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm here exactly how I'm supposed to be here, right? And so this idea that, like, the world can shift to accommodate me and people like me better is where people can really thrive. Because if you're trying to change the disability, you're pushing a rock up a hill, right? Like, there's a lot of things we can try to do, but at the end of the day, we're still going to be disabled. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And I just want that to sink in for a minute, because that is such a powerful message. That I don't even want to call it disability, frankly, that our uniqueness is not a problem to be solved. Mm-hmm. Instead, it's an opportunity to figure out how do we make space for all the differences that are out there. And that is it's just a lot more uplifting. It's a lot more incorporating. Before we started, Doctor, you shared a term, and I think it's appropriate to bring it up. You called it presumed competency. Yep. Could you speak a little bit to that? Because I think it kind of touches on this a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of I'll call it our guiding principle, I guess, is to presume that individuals with disabilities are competent. And so what that means is giving them the tools and resources to reach their full potential. I think so often when we are given a disability diagnosis, there's assumptions made before we even can realize what that child might be capable of. So then those assumptions are becoming our guiding principles. So then
you become the label.
You become the expectation that the parent holds for you, right? Or society holds for you.
The metaphor I use a lot is like, we put the bar where we think it should go. So if you get a child with an autism diagnosis or a CP diagnosis or any other diagnosis, you're automatically putting that bar lower because of what we think and have been socialized to think about disability. So then presuming competence is raise the bar, because you don't know, just like you don't know about any other kid that's born, what they're going to be capable of. Right. But really what happens is if you keep that bar lower, once they reach the bar, everybody's like, we're done. Right. They did it. That's all they're going to be able to do. So we did it.
Good. So and as you're saying that, like, I think using your analogy, we lower the bar because we want to, AKA, protect that person.
Oh,
people want to do that
whole dissertation is about overprotecting.
Right, because everybody's so and that's interesting that you say that. So because you think about, okay, well, here's somebody that's more vulnerable, somebody that is, that we need to protect, but you're saying no. We got to go the opposite way.
We've got to give them a shot.
So how do you rewire that I guess that belief system or that misunderstanding?
Not to toot our own horns over here, but
please do.
What we're doing. You educate about disability in a different way. You reframe what it means to be a disabled person in our society. And I think to really do that, you have to understand that, like, and Michelle can give you lots of examples of, like, are things more challenging when you're trying to teach your kid with a disability skills or to do things or to reach their potential, yes, absolutely. But it's the idea of like a lot of work in the beginning for like a little bit of work later on, right? And so like my independence journey it's complicated. It's not easy to do a lot of the things, but once I learned how to do them, I was good to go, right? Did it take me longer to get there? Sure it did.
Yeah.
But, I've had those skills now most of my life. And I often say, disabled people are the best problem solvers I know. Because
We have to be.
No, seriously.
our whole life, we're going to, I don't mean this as a negative way, it's just reality. We're going to encounter more barriers and problems than most people. So there's two options there. You can teach a child how to work through a problem and a barrier because they're going to encounter it over and over and over and over again in different ways. Or you can step in and solve every problem, but then they're not learning the skills on how to solve the problems.
That's really interesting. That idea of overprotection, I'm thinking as a parent, and really in that case, it's less about the child and it's more about me. I'm escaping the hard work because I'm right.
Yes.
And
You
so
said it, not me.
I know. I was like,
No,
I was like, all right, I'm gonna let you do that. That's amazing.
yeah, but really,
Yes.
I mean, and even what we would call the hard and the frustrating times, that label we're putting on because of our expectation, and the child may not be having a hard time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So we're creating this narrative experience on what we're putting on
Again,
them
it's-
because of that artificial bar or expectation that is one we imposed.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to talk about this assumed competency thing because I think people think that they're doing it too, and they're not doing it, right? So my son is 13 non-speaking. And when he was in the public school, he was getting what they thought was an assumed competency education. But I would look at his work and I would be like, Jackson's a fifth grader. This is not fifth grade work. You're not actually assuming competency. So we started a school. He goes to the school, right? So we have a littles classroom and a bigs classroom. The littles classroom is working on skip multiplication. The bigs classroom that Jackson is in is learning algebra. So I go back to his public school and I say, we had a picture of like, here's what the littles are working on, here's what the bigs are working on. And I showed it to his teacher and she looked at it because I was like, this is what I mean when I'm talking about assuming competency. This is the work Jackson is doing. And she looked at it and she goes, well, I always knew he could multiply. And I'm like, no, honey, he's doing the algebra. And it blew her mind.
No way.
Yeah.
And to speak to tools,
Wow.
like,
Do you need a minute over there?
That was like,
well, I'll share a
bet-
personal example because
love that. That's
I
a great story.
kindred story here. So my son is on the spectrum. He's a type 1 diabetic, has been since he was 14 months old. He has a genetic condition on top of it, some learning disabilities. I mean, it's the word salad of stacked, what we would perceive as struggles, right? But he's great with technology. He's proficient in some areas. So in the traditional teaching model, he was on this addition subtraction system because you have to master these root skills. Well, he has dyscalculia on top of everything else, which is like dyslexia for numbers. So he was never going to master those mental mechanical concepts of numbers, right? So he never had confidence. So you could do long division, multiplication, doesn't matter. Those base functions, he's going to get the wrong answer. So he was like just throwing the towel. So grateful for his teacher when we started our school that said, can I just give him the calculator? We're not working towards a state assessment test. I want to teach him the principles. And by the end of his first year, he's doing algebra and he's managing his diabetes. And so to your point, when we're talking about the environment changing and giving them the opportunity, they thrive.
Because the only reason we don't really is our own preconceived notions of what that means.
And it's not that our kids are never going to get there or achieve those milestones. It's they're going to look different. And we have to be okay with them looking different. Jackson is 13 and non-speaking. And you know what? I love that child to death, but he's probably never going to speak. But can he communicate with me? Heck yeah, he can.
Maybe more than what you want sometimes.
Right? But he does AAC device. He does spell to communicate. Like he can communicate to us in a different way. But I think it's on us and on us parents to realize that that is okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No. I love it. Well, and my, I kind of got thrown into the disabled world a little bit. My wife's brother has cerebral palsy and pretty severe. And when I was first dating her, his name's Lance, and I didn't quite know how to interact with him. I just didn't grow up with it. I was naive and I just didn't get it. So I'm sitting there one time, and then Lance, he starts like talking crap because he's only like 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
And he starts razzing me a little bit. And I was like, really, Lance? And so I push him, and then he pushes me back, and we start wrestling. We're like 20-year-olds, because that's what 20-year-olds will do, right? If you're gonna haze me, I'm gonna haze you, and I'm gonna push you, you're gonna push me back. And all of a sudden I'm like, man, you're just a buddy, man. That's all you are. And it was so much fun. And I know that sounds so simplistic, but it's a way that, here I am assuming his competency is not there.
Right. Yeah.
Naively, and I felt so bad. And ever since, we've had a great relationship. Every time I see him, I was like, what's up, dude? And we just sit down, we wrestle, we talk, and whatever. We play games, watch TV, whatever he wants to do. And it's awesome. It's a great relationship.
That's awesome.
So I love it. I love the work that you're doing, and it makes such a big impact to our parents and our families. So thank you. You guys are awesome.
Well, and thank you for the epiphany. I mean, now I'm rethinking. It's funny. It's almost liberating to think that what's holding my child back more is my own view. And there's so much more joy to be had in just seeing who they are, who they can be. Again, assuming the best, not expecting the worst. Mm-hmm. And that's still going to be different. Yeah. But that's okay.
Yeah.
What a journey. Thank you for that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, talk about some of the events that you have coming up soon, and again, how can our
did you not hear they have 44
well,
just this month?
But I was just like, I guess my thing is if I wanted to sign up, do I just show up? Is there a waiting list, or is there?
Okay, that's a great question. When you go to our website, thecaregivers.org, you'll see a pop-up. A pop-up's going to come up. We hate them. We loathe them. But if you put in your email address into that pop-up, every first of the month at 9:30, we send out a newsletter. That newsletter has all of the fresh links for the upcoming month's events. So eventually they do land on the website, but the newsletter people get access first.
Okay.
So what are they getting access to? The coffees, the dinners. We've built relationships with the ballet, the Arizona Opera, the Phoenix Symphony. They give us tickets. We give the caregivers the tickets.
This isn't just Hungry Howie's Pizza. I mean, these are legit events.
No, these are legit events. So the newsletter folks kind of get access to all of those first. The big crazy events usually go quickly. Mm-hmm. So I would say definitely get on the newsletter. But then when you go onto our website, if you click the events tab, you can just easily register through there. There's a add, tickets to my cart. You check out. That's it. It's really easy.
Okay. And then if we want to be involved with let's talk about some of your workshops that you've talked about. What are some techniques or things that you try to work with your parents right off the bat? What are some things that we're okay, here's some misunderstandings. Here are some ideas that we want to break some of these barriers with.
You want to take that?
I think in our case, it depends on the class, right? And so most of our classes are offered at least once a month. And so what we're going to work on based on what you sign up for. So the Stepping Stones Triple P course is more about parenting skills and ways to teach new behaviors, things like that. We've got a seminar that's called Caregiving with Clarity, and that's our day seminar to really give you tools on taking care of yourself and what that looks like, and sort of like a personal reset for you on this journey. And for that one, we have you all day to go over different aspects of that. And then our independent living seminar is also once a month, and that one is you come and learn about the independent living philosophy and what it means to shift your focus to independence for your kiddo. And then that one's really cool. We do a parent panel at the end, so you get to ask questions and speak to parents that have already implemented some of this into their journey and what that looked like. So I think those are the three most popular. Mm-hmm. There's some different ones that pop up that we do throughout the year, but those are the three ongoing most popular. And I think just based on which of that you think is most helpful, you're always welcome to go on and sign up for whatever the next one might be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, And then what other additional like resources does your organization offer and things that you can do for our parents?
So besides all of this,
There's more.
yeah, there's more, folks.
Yeah.
Because there is. If you go onto our website, what we've basically done is we've created a mini conference online. So if you go onto our website under the resources tab, you can go to and watch webinars on all of the kinds of talks that you would go to at like a conference. So if you want to learn about ABLE accounts, you can find a webinar about ABLE accounts. If you want to learn about guardianship and supportive decision making, there's a webinar on that. If you want to learn about what the heck an IEP is and what's supposed to be in it, there's a webinar on that. And then we have a ton of tools on there that parents can download because we have so much paperwork and things that we have to track. So how do you keep track of that? There's those resources. We have visual supports for parents. Last year, 10,000 of them were downloaded across the United States. So these are just visual supports like, I want to teach my kid how to brush their teeth. And they can pull up the visual support, pick a kid that looks like their kid, which is not really a thing out there, right? Print it out and put it on their mirror. And here's how we walk through how to brush your teeth, how to take a shower, how to get dressed in the morning. Those are there. We have 9 21-day fitness programs that are on there. We have guided meditations. So there's a lot of resources. Again, for us, we just wanted to make a one-stop shop for families so that you're not scouring the internet for all of this information. It lives in one space.
Why didn't I know about you guys sooner?
Yeah.
Because you just described the last 10 years of my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's exhausting to
It
try
is.
to find all of this information.
Yes.
And oftentimes it's hidden behind paywalls, or you have to give up your email address and then you're on the spam list forever. So we don't even do that. It's just there. It's just there and it's just free.
That's amazing.
I think you brought up a really good point. I don't know, maybe even accidentally, but that's also why there's a lot of virtual community events and meetups, is because those are open to caregivers across the country.
Yeah.
So obviously our events in person are local right now. We're across Arizona, but you can join a virtual therapy support group. You can join virtual meetups that have different topics throughout the month. You can join a virtual book club. You can download any of our virtual resources, and that's open to anyone across the U.S. So
That's amazing.
we want everybody.
Yeah.
I hate that, we crunch this stuff in 30 to 45 minutes because I have so many more questions I want to ask. But I do want to give you a soft invite to come back to talk about the path and journey to independent living. You mentioned it earlier, that could be that could be its own
That
podcast.
could be a whole class.
And listen, just as my wife and I were just talking about this, so much of the support out there is for younger kids.
Yeah.
The new diagnosis, that transition, entering into welcome to the world of special needs. And then it's almost just assumed that once you've had that induction into this wonderful new world, that you're good. And then you get to the teenage years, what is this new thing? And planning for the future. It's just, there's a little bit of a gap there, in my opinion. And I think that that topic would be wonderful for our parents to have. So I'm just going to pre-soft invite them in the future for another episode, because
I hope they say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
awesome.
Well, and the thing about that, right, is parents usually think about independent living when their kid is 18. And it's
We just talked
that
about
is
that the other day.
way too late. I mean, Jackson right now, we're teaching him how to do laundry. He's 13.
Right.
You know why? Because it's going to take him
'Cause
3 or
18's
4
tomorrow.
years to learn that skill and lock it in. So it's these skills need to be developed earlier so that they can apply them when you want them to be independent. So we will 100% come back for that.
Well, we would love to have you guys come back. And as we wrap up this episode, what would be some advice you would want to give our audience? If they were sitting right in front of you, what are some advice that you would both like to share with them right now?
Why don't you go first? And then
Yeah, I think my one piece of advice would be just start somewhere, right? We just gave a lot of information. There's even our website looks intimidating to some, right? But just reach out and take the first step, because you can't adequately take care of your child if you're not taking care of yourself. And this idea that, we see it all the time, parents who are raising disabled kids, they become their whole life. And, you know, part of that is beautiful. And then part of that is like, you're a person too, with other parts of your life that are important and other aspects of your being and your personality and your life that matter just as much. So you've got to take the first step to finding who that person is again. And we hope to help you do that.
And it starts with fun. What's something you like to do for fun?
Absolutely.
Right? I love that.
What's that?
Come play with us and we'll show you. And then I would just like to say, you know, give yourself grace. A lot of us enter into this space not knowing anything. I knew nothing about disability. I didn't know a disabled person when my son was diagnosed. And so you're not expected to know it. You have to learn it, right? So give yourself some grace there. And I also just want to say to every single parent out there that you're not alone. I think that feeling of isolation cuts so deep, and just know that you are part of a huge caregiving community and that we are here. We're ready to wrap our arms around you and make sure that you know that you're not alone on this journey.
Well, thank you. Well, this has been an amazing episode, Nathan. I can't believe what I've already learned. I already have a bunch of notes. I have more questions and answers.
Yeah,
I really hope you come back.
Yeah, and beyond just the resources, which, oh my gosh, I don't know how you guys find the time. You're like inventing time, your time factory. So I want to learn that secret one day.
We also have a wonderful team.
Yes.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
How many people do you have in your team? Like how big of a...
At the core of this, there are 5 of us.
Yep.
And
well, it only takes 5 to move a mountain then.
5 to do 40 plus events a month.
They're amazing. Yeah, they're absolutely amazing.
They're wonderful. And all parents in this community themselves. So
yeah, you know, we call this the Polaris to Connection to help people connect. You guys are taking that connection and multiplying it. But I think what I most appreciate, besides just that wonderful work, is the perspective. You know, it's a very fresh taste on caring for, and again, to your name, the caregivers. And that's a side that deserves its time in the sun and the light. I'm so glad you guys are out there championing that message. So thank you.
Well, and we hope that all our parents know that you have somebody on your side. You have somebody in your corner. There are people there that really want to help you. You are not alone. Please reach out. Please talk to somebody. If you get frustrated, man, there's 40 plus events that you can easily just tap into. And
this
say,
month only. I mean, that's just
I
this.
know, 400 last year.
Crazy.
Well, you say 800 this year now?
Probably. It's madness.
But I think that's so reassuring because we always say, hey, please reach out.
Yeah.
Just extend an arm and we will embrace you and we will take you in. And I love this. I love the work you do. You're doing God's work. Like, this is perfect. And we're so grateful to have you guys with us today. So on that note, we just want to thank everybody for making us part of your day. Please don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a conversation that inspires connection. We also want to thank Jesse Palmer, our producer, our wonderful marketing director, Dallin Davis. Until next time, let's go do some good.